so lucky. Matt Forte. We had our guy Brian Westbrook on the show. We're doubling down on Eagles legends, baby. Two-time Super Bowl champion, co-host of Inside the NFL, where he's crushing it. No surprises here. Green Light Podcast. Chris Long, how are you? Happy Eagles Week.
What's up, Kay? How are you?
I'm amazing. Thank you for being here. I know you're so busy. This is like an insane week you've been a part of so many times. But I want to kick it back to 2017. You know, somewhere you and I are thinking about My Morning Jacket and Bonnaroo, but you made a huge play in the NFC Championship game. Vikings, talk me through it. They're up 7-0 on the Eagles. You got pressure on Case Keenum. Pick six, baby!
Yeah, that was, thank goodness for Ronald Darby, who sacrificed himself for this touchdown late in the down here. You'll see it pretty soon. And it was just a routine 3rd and 8. We were felt like a little bit backs against the wall in a game where I think most people thought the Vikings would win, and we had to make a play and just had a good get off, got across his chest, kind of like that angle. You couldn't really see it. It looks like I'm tickling his armpit, but kind of hit his front arm and just, as Troy Aikman said, into the body or whatever. And yeah, it was a duck, and that was awesome.
Super Bowl champ 2 times over. You got Cooper DeJean, one of these rookies, coming up to you and saying, give me your one piece of advice, the one piece of advice I could really use going into this game, dealing with this week. What is it?
I would say don't try to make the play that wins it. Like, you know, for a guy who I waited 8 years to play in the playoffs, period, and then ended up in a Super Bowl. Very lucky to be a part of that Patriots team in 16. You know, for me, when that playoff run started, I was trying to make plays to justify being there, you know? As the stage gets bigger, you start thinking about, hey, you fantasize about the play you could make, which there's nothing wrong with that. But making a play is all about seizing the right opportunity. It's not really about making your opportunities in every situation. And I think some younger players might think, hey, to play well in the playoffs, you have to be experienced. Well, that's not true. I think it doesn't matter who you are in the playoffs. We see young guys make plays that are impactful every year, and we see vets screw it up, quite frankly, every year. So it doesn't matter who you are. You can be the guy, but you have to wait your turn. You know, there's going to be a moment on the field where you're like, okay, this is my moment, and then you've got to make that play. But you can't get out of your technique and what got you here and doing the same things that made you so great throughout the season, because that's when you make mistakes that can hurt your team.
But then you have Brandon Graham, and he's back, and I'm like, make the freaking play. You've done it before. What is he going to bring? Can't you just imagine the storybook ending for him? What are you rooting for?
Well, I think everybody but BG should subscribe to that advice. I think BG should go try to make the play.
There we go.
He should try to. Yeah, because that would be, when you talk about like a Willis Reed type vibe where it's like, it can't be him. Okay. He's back. And I do think if there's anybody that could do it, it'd be BG, 36 years old, as well as he was playing this year. It just didn't feel like the story was over. I thought the game he got hurt in, I think, was the LA game on the road. He was playing as good as I've seen him play the past couple of years. So love to see him get another shot at making a huge play like that. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say Milton Williams is the hero. That's my prediction.
Oh, why? Yeah. Tell me why.
He might get some singles this week. You know, have you heard of the guy opposite him, Jalen Carter, yet?
Yeah, you know I have actually, yes, once or twice. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, earlier this year, I don't know how you felt about this, Kay, but I felt like people were sleeping on this dude. And it was one of those things where they were tired of hearing about how good he was going to be. And I think most people now, including Aaron Donald, passing the torch to Jalen Carter, realize how special he can be. But the other guy who's made a lot of plays has been Milton, opposite him, and obviously getting some singles. I think he's made himself a lot of money this year. I'd love to see him be the hero Sunday.
I want to see the Eagles be a hero on Sunday. It would be such a great story, so disruptive to the Chiefs sides of things. I want to ask you about Myles Garrett. It's the news of the freaking day. Like, I was packing, doing all stuff, and I'm like, I'm sorry, heart and soul of Cleveland is wanting to leave Cleveland. I'm thinking good for him. What went through your head? 8 years in, Myles Garrett, one of the best to do it, when you heard that news.
I mean, you can't blame the guy. I'm not here to dump on an organization, but they just haven't done things right. And I think with everything that's gone on the past 2 years, adding insult to injury, being a part of a team that's not winning, but also a circus, I can't put words in his mouth. I'm not trying to read his mind, but, you know, one of the most frustrating things for a pass rusher is not winning. You know, it's frustrating because you're not winning. It's compounding because it hurts your ability to justify your reputation, who you are, how you get paid. if you don't have leads, if you're not playing in these games where you have opportunities to rush, it can hurt your legacy. But more than anything, I think he made it clear he wants a chance to win. And I don't blame him. And it's so funny to me that fans a lot of the time say, hey, like players need to be loyal. But when a player says, hey, I'm tired of losing, you know, like this is not what I signed up for. It's too hard a sport year in and year out to show up in camp and be like, yeah, we might go 9-7. We might go 9-8 now or whatever it is. I've been there where, you know, you show up to camp every year and it's going to be 2-14. It's going to be 1-15. The powerlessness that exists in that dynamic is tough for players. So I'd love to see him end up on a good team, maybe in Philly, if I'm being biased. The rich get richer, but
I was thinking like
also
Philly, Commanders.
But here's the problem, Kay. And I am a big fan of what Josh Harris has done, and I'm a huge fan of Jaden Daniels. You can't have Myles Garrett and maybe the best quarterback of the next generation wearing those uniforms. You got to fix those uniforms.
What do you mean?
I mean, you don't have to. They're
Talk to me.
ugly.
What do you mean?
You don't think those uniforms are ugly?
I don't know. I don't really think. Is that the craziest thing? I don't think about it. I don't think about it. They're pretty ugly. Sure.
I think you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. I'd like to see them fix those unis if we're going to have two of the best players in the league playing for that team.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great take. I love it. Hey, you're here with Smirnoff. Let's effing go. Love them. What's going on Super Bowl Sunday?
Well, Saturday we've got this big tailgate. It's the longest recording of the Green Light podcast ever, which is saying a lot. And Smirnoff is basically pulling up this 60-foot flatbed truck. We got a celebrity chef. David Rose. He's going to be cooking jambalaya. 201 Canal Street. No matter who you're rooting for, there'll be a place for you there. It's just all about loving Smirnoff, fun. They've got some mixed drinks and the big game. So Smirnoff.com. Have to RSVP, but we'll be there doing some content, talking about the game and telling stories from the week. Because as you know, this is all about the week. It's not just the game. It's about like how much fun we have during the week.
I know it's all about endurance. Smirnoff's going to help you get through it and celebrate, hopefully, an Eagles victory quickly. We have like 10 seconds left. What is the lead that you're comfortable with at the end of the game for the Eagles to pull it off, fourth quarter?
2 scores. You know, it's one of those things that, yeah, because Kansas City is like 1,000,001 in one-score ball games, and that's the thing that scares you if it's close down the stretch. So, you know, if I had to give you a key to the game, I know you didn't ask, but I think that the Eagles' defensive backs, that's the key.